Welcome back to Seaweed Brain, a Percy Jackson podcast. This week, we're taking a brief interlude from our Hot Girl Odyssey adaptation retelling summer, preparing for the Sea of Monsters, and instead going to prepare for the Sea of Monsters in a slightly different way. Last weekend, we got to go to San Diego Comic-Con for the Percy Jackson panel and to do some exclusive roundtable interviews. So stick around to hear our audio from that interview and all about our experience at Comic-Con.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Hello, everyone. If we have new listeners here today, my name is Erica. I am the co-host of this podcast, joined as always by Carter. Hello, Carter.
Hi everyone.
And I want you all to know that if you're here for the interviews, you can skip the next few minutes. But Carter said, and I quote, "We need to make people eat their vegetables," as far as how much talking we could do before we play the audio from the interviews. As in, you
I
have
also
to
said
listen
not
to
too
us
much.
talk about our life and our experience at Comic-Con before we give you what you're obviously all here for.
We believe in citing our sources here. And in this case, the source is us. So we're going to cite ourselves. We're going to, honor the experience that brought you the audio that you're about to hear.
I posted one of those, I think it was the clip of Walker talking about Levi, the actor playing Nico, on TikTok, and somebody commented, "From?" ? As though it was not from me, as though I was not the primary source of this information.
I like the instinct, though, because some people are reposting stuff from other people without crediting them. And I like a curiosity about the original source is invigorating. And an impulse that I would encourage in situations where it is not clear, although it seems like it would be clear in that case that the audio would be from us. But Anyhow,
we're a Percy Jackson podcast. We got started back in 2020 during COVID, and this little pandemic side quest that we started during college has gotten, frankly, just wildly out of hand, because last week we got invited to Comic-Con on behest of Disney. We did not get approved via the application we filled out. No, we got invited. Thank you, Disney, for sneaking us in. Thank you, Mouse, to the Hall H panel. It was fan-freaking-tastic. We were there with our partners in crime, Emily and Phoebe from Monsterdona and Mike from The Newest Olympian. So you're going to get episodes from them, like pretty similar to the episode we're doing. We all got to sit together at the roundtable interviews that we did after the panel. So we worked out a very intricate system of who would ask what questions first, how we would snake around so that we all got to equitably wedge our questions in. We ended up all kind of getting to ask like one question of each pair / of the 3 showrunners. And I think it worked out pretty well. We all combined like all of our technology. We had like multiple mics on the table, multiple cameras, tripods set up.
I would say there's mostly good audio and mostly good video for what was a very hectic, loud ballroom where people were coming and going, and there were all these other press outlets. Like, we didn't have what IMDb had, which is huge double light setup with like 2 or 3 handheld mics. We didn't have that, but we did do our best. There was some podcaster stuff going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you do this kind of a thing, this kind of a press experience, you basically are either being chosen for a quote unquote like carpet interview or a quote unquote roundtable interview. And in our case, the carpet and the roundtable were happening in the same room, which was very cute. The carpet went first, which is like the real professionals or like the real influencers with 1 million+ followers got to be on the carpet.
The carpet is like IMDb and Variety and The Hollywood Reporter.
Straw Hat Goofy. And then the round tables were like smaller outlets, and then the table of all of the podcasters. We did not request to all be at the same table, but all day we were hoping that we would be at the same table so that we wouldn't have to like push actual journalists out of their chair to let us ask Percy questions.
Or get pushed by actual journalists out of our chairs.
I was not going to get pushed by an actual journalist out of my chair. Not that day. Not last Thursday.
Maybe it's the right place to also caveat that we say this because we are not actual journalists. That's not the point of this podcast. That's not what we're trying to do here. It's not bad journalism when we edit things or ask questions a certain way. It is not journalism. It is a separate thing that involves making things that we enjoy about things that we enjoy.
It is not journalism. It is fan podcasting. It's a separate, unique experience. All of Thursday was so special. Going to the panel, we were the first people in line for the like fancy seating in Hall H. Like our little group of podcasters, we were waiting in the little line with one of the writers. I was like, Sarah, I think you should walk in front of us. I don't think that we should be walking into this panel first, but she let us all go first. And we got to choose our fancy seating in the front and got to enjoy the panel. Carter and I simultaneously live tweeted the whole thing. I'd like to think that if you scroll through our Twitter feed, you can tell what Carter tweeted and what I tweeted.
Yeah.
Based on the narrative voice. And then we went straight to the little like professionals lounge. So all 5 of us could like finish writing our questions and charge all of our devices. And then we went over to the hotel next door where they had the interviews. And probably the most notable thing to happen at this point was we were all quite lost, trying to figure out what is like Indigo Ballroom B mean. And as we would finally figure out what room we were supposed to go to, this little like entourage of people walks by. And one of the people in that entourage was Peter Dinklage. And we all kind of like one by one notice this and do a double take and try to be normal as Peter Dinklage's like entourage is walking behind us. And then we get to the little hallway. Peter Dinklage's like publicist is like, oh, can we like get through? So we like step aside so their entourage can walk through, trying not to make awkward eye contact with Peter Dinklage. And then like a man behind Peter Dinklage looks at Carter and I as we're dressed up in our last minute 1 a.m. Grover cosplays and looks at us and goes, I like your horns. And 30 seconds after this interaction, I registered that the man who said that was Elijah Wood.
And I registered that maybe 2 to 3 hours after the interaction, after everyone else was talking about how crazy it was that we saw Elijah Wood.
That Elijah Wood made direct eye contact with us in his beautiful blue eyes and said, I like your horns.
Yeah.
Can you believe?
I just don't notice eyes like that.
Well, that was the energy that we were going into these roundtable interviews with. Absolute hype, having seen the season 2 trailer, having gotten the casting announcement of Bianca and Nico, all of these things, which I think we'll talk about maybe even next week. But for now, we're going to share with you the interview audio from our little roundtable questions. Right? Anything else I should say?
The cosplay that we did was also noticed by Arian. The photo is on social media somewhere. We were the only people in the room who were dressed up because everyone else was a professional journalist. So I think it was appreciated.
Well, I like to think that we were subtle. I was going for something subtle, and then Carter was like, I'm at Target.
Yeah. Oh, this is a fun
anecdote.
Yeah.
I texted Carter the night before because I was not feeling good about the outfit I had planned for Thursday. I really wanted to like feel good in what I was wearing, and I didn't feel good. So I made my sister take me shopping at the last second before I got on my train to San Diego. And I found this like cute sort of like Searchers outfit inspired 2-piece thing that would look like what Arian wears in season 2. And I texted Carter. I put together like a vaguely Grover inspired outfit for tomorrow. And Carter was like, oh, I could have done that too. And I was like, well, then go shopping right now. And so Carter texted me, I found this white dress, $10 on clearance at Target. And I was like, that's hilarious that you thought I meant wedding dress when I meant Searcher's outfit, but you went wedding dress. And then we did it and we made it happen.
Yeah. We put together some additional props also on the fly at Target and at the hotel. And I think it was successful.
I think it was important to the overall experience of the next few days that we spent the night before our like big, scary, anxiety-inducing workday doing arts and crafts on the sofa until 1 a.m. with tiny scissors and construction paper and so much scotch tape.
Yeah,
because that's the real
I got the
fan
cheapest scissors
experience
available at Target, which were the kids' safety scissors, which is what we use to make the panpipes and the horns and the veil.
Yes, I think because I was so nervous about everything going well and with the technology of what we had to do for our interviews, I was like not really, from the place in my heart that is like a fan, I was not feeling excited until I started touching that construction paper. And then that like little fan heart grew 10 sizes. And all I felt for the rest of the weekend was just like happy to be there and so grateful that we got to participate. Again, not as journalists, as fan creators. Okay, I think we should roll the audio. the first people that we got to talk to, they were all paired up in duos. We got to talk with Arian and Dior, and this is what we asked them. Okay, yes. So we have never actually gotten to see your characters really interact. I know. Books, TV, nothing. So fill us in at the start of this season. Like, what is Grover and Clarice's relationship? Is there respect? Is there fear?
I think
I hate him so bad. Burn.
What about the characters though?
No. I think towards the beginning, there's not really much going on. I think what it is he's in my orbit and I'm in his, because he wasn't my protector. So he's just this guy that I know. But as things go on, and then as we start to spend more time together, there's a moment in time where I completely just I think I can't see him, therefore he's not there. But he is hearing me. And I just pour my soul out as Clarice, and he knows. He knows everything about me at that point. So I think our relationship changes and shifts from that point.
Very much.
But it's kind of I was talking with Andrew about this yesterday, actually. It's kind of like a don't say but see situation that, when you have an experience with someone that this wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened, and we don't want to talk about it anymore. So now it's a situation of if I'm seeing him in public, it's okay, hey Grover, things hey Grover.
Yeah.
That. I think that's the vibe.
But I think there is also a very underlying mutual respect.
Of course,
that stems from both.
So as well. Yeah.
Especially after all this stuff that happens in the cave.
That happens in the cave.
What happens in the cave stays in the cave.
What happens in the cave stays in the cave. But yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic. I'm excited for everyone to see it.
It's great. Well, Arian is the best scene partner.
You're the best
scene partner. He really is. He's the greatest.
It's
Arian
very
is
easy
great.
With you.
He's really, really great. I think what it is because our processes are so similar that I'm really it's you're not afraid to make contact.
You need what I need.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, it's just like that. It's great.
Yeah.
I love him.
This was the point at which we realized that the answers were all going to be very detailed, and you might know the Andrew mention. There was an Andrew counter that we had kind of going throughout the day on Twitter. This one didn't get logged because we were, having a face-to-face conversation, but many mentions.
You can listen to our episode with on-set acting coach Andrew McElroy. If you scroll back through our feed, he is absolutely phenomenal. The amount of work he does with the kids, I don't know that people really understand the level to which he is on set coaching, the way that he does essentially an entire other school day with them to work on their characters, where they're at in each different episode, and literally on set, whispering in their ears, keeping them in the zone, on the day of, in the moment. He's incredible. Go listen to that episode. After that, we got to talk to Walker and Daniel. So obviously we had to ask about Percybeth in some way, shape, or form.
We might also have to apologize for the audio quality. I think the audio quality is probably going to be a little bit less good on this one. The reason why, I think I've been reflecting on this, is that all of the kids, when they were sitting there, I think they were really into the idea of the podcast as presented in video formats. And so they all were grabbing the mics and moving them towards them and sort of gently caressing the little tripod mic stand tabletop
and our mics are old as hell. Our mics are old and delicate, and we need to replace them.
I think it is mostly the fact that I already had to replace my mic connecting to the computer cord on Amazon. Walker was holding this microphone, the same microphone stand that I'm holding, and I think that it lightly dislodged the connection cord. And so the good audio was not maybe as precisely collected at the beginning. The other note to have about this is that at the end, as they were getting up to leave, very strict time rules. The publicists of Disney, there's one publicist per pair, walking with them, keeping time, making sure the questions don't get weird, whatever. As this publicist was ushering them away, Walker turns around and goes, why didn't nobody ask me about Nico? You guys are going to ask the Nico questions? And we were like, what? Walker? Is that allowed? Is that what can you tell us anything? As the publicist is ushering them along to the next table, because everything is kind of running a little bit behind schedule throughout the event. And there'll be more on that later.
You're going to hear that interaction at the end of this clip as we play our question for Walker, our question for Daniel. And as they're leaving, you will hear Walker be like, what the heck, guys? Okay, Walker, we all know that this season, Percy's relationship with Annabeth is changing. It's in all the log lines. And when this season starts, your characters have had a year of no contact. Yeah. You have not spoken. So before all the chaos ensues with the fighting and the giants and everything, when you see Annabeth, what do you want to say to her?
I think, a lot of our conversations in season 1 is about how, she kind of explains to me how this demigod world works, and then I kind of explain to her how the real world works, because she hasn't spent a lot of time as a human. And I think this season, it's when we get together, I really want to know how she felt about the real world, and I can tell that she's kind of keeping something from me, and that kind of lasts a little bit. That lasts until episode 3 or 4, something like that. That's kind of their big thing in the season. It's telling each other what really happened and how they really feel. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's interesting.
Breaking that teen angst barrier of communication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jana, we know that you're a lifelong fan of the books, and we were wondering what you learned about Tyson as an actor through this process that didn't come through for you when you were a kid reading them for the first time.
No, it's a great question. I think most of it had to do with his past. I think on the page he comes across as so innocent and lovable and naive at points, and his language is so simplistic. And so diving into that, it was really an exploration of there's so much awareness of the emotional boundaries and changes between everybody that's going on around him. There's so much intelligence that where does that come from? How is that expressed? And I think a lot of the past that he's kind of gone through, living on the streets, I mean, that's traumatic. And I know it's a kid's show, but it was something that I was that needs to be shown. We need to find that complexity. Otherwise, it doesn't work. If he's always happy and smiley, it just turns into a trick rather than something that's a real, something that you can connect to and relate to. And for the fans and for the kids watching, or for anybody watching, that was really, really important. And so it was diving into the darkness and how does that come through and when does it come through? Because if it's dark and intense all the time, you lose Tyson as well. So it's well, at what points do we show what? And I think, again, we had a lot of great conversations around it. I think my instincts on it, I felt really, really good about it ahead of time. And I think we delivered something that is going to be kind of exactly what I was hoping to create with it. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to kind of see that as such massive fans yourselves. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Oh, you guys are such good actors.
I like your sticker.
Yeah, you can take some
freebies. That's screwed up.
Yeah.
I'm going to create Percy that one and put that all over the...
Take them. Bracelet. Yeah, take them, whatever you want. They're decor, but they're also for you guys.
And thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
There's no Nico question.
We want to know about your characters.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I've been waiting for a Nico question.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
Wait,
let us know.
The news is out.
That's true. Damn, you should have said that earlier. I also just want to say it is so lovely to have Daniel on this press tour, because he, not only is he the big brother uncle for everybody, but he is such a brilliantly articulate actor. I felt so unconcerned about what we could ask him, because I knew whatever we asked him, he would spin it into the most brilliant, thoughtful response.
Seasoned actor, seasoned press tour, writer.
He's a writer, very articulate. Okay, and after that, we got to talk to
Leah and Charlie.
And we asked them a little dual Annabeth Luke question.
Oh my gosh, a table with all my favorite people.
Hey, how are you doing? I love this top.
Hey guys, your panel was so great. Love the outfit. When we get up, I'll give you guys hugs too.
Great.
All right, guys, we gotta get started quick. I'm so sorry.
Okay, shall we?
All right, question time.
Work.
Here we go.
Your two characters used to be best friends, siblings.
Yep.
Now you're at odds, spending most of the season apart. If your characters had one chance to talk to each other this season through an empathy link, the way that Grover and Percy have, what would they say to each other? Do you think it's a nostalgia situation, disappointment, hope? What do you...
I would say why.
Wow.
I'd probably just generally just look at him and say why, Luke? Why? I think it was just like that. Just like that. One word. Yeah.
Oh wow, one word. All right, that's powerful. I think to answer that question, I think I would be I think I would just say that I'm doing this for the greater good. This is because that's what Luke truly believes, that he's doing this. This is what's best for everyone, and I think he would still try and convince Annabeth to come over to his side.
Ain't gonna happen.
Probably wouldn't succeed, but But yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah. Perfect answers.
Little peek behind the curtain. Because we have talked to almost all of these people already, we were trying to focus on things that would make sense for the context that we were in, which is duo interview. We would have maybe 3 minutes to talk with each pair of them. And so one might wonder, aren't you a Percy Beth podcast when you ask a Percy Beth question? And, and we will, all in good time.
Absolutely. After Charlie and Leah, we had the 3 showrunners come to our table, and we barely had any time to talk to them because we all had to get up and hug Dan and Craig and Jon and say hi and chit chat. And the whole time Dan was like, do we have to talk about the show? Can we just hang out? But eventually we all got to ask one question. And I think very important context to this situation. Mike already posted this clip. You can go and watch it on his Instagram. He wanted to ask a sports question that was a very funny bit. I had no idea what was going on.
Is a little loose.
It made me laugh.
It was a sports haranguing. It was bragging about his sports team being better than Dan and Jon's sports teams.
I didn't know. There was a lot of numbers being rattled off. The best part for me was when Dan pointed at Mike and said, "You left your child for this," because Mike did fly to San Diego like all of us did, but he has a baby. I thought that was hilarious.
He kept it responsible. It was like a 24-hour turnaround for those of you concerned about Mike's very young child.
Oh yeah, don't be concerned. Mike literally spent less than 24 hours in San Diego to do this event. But then Dan was like, okay, Erica, Carter, ask your question, because at this point they were like, it was like time for them to go, but the showrunners knew that we hadn't asked our question yet. And so they were like making time for us. And I was so nervous to ask my long-winded question after that experience. But you'll hear Jon comment at the beginning of this clip. Something that made me laugh. Okay, in season 1, we had Medusa and Sally flipping the script a little bit on what it means to look up to Perseus. And next season, that's going to be all about rejecting Hercules as the blueprint of what it means to be a hero. So for this season, how much conversation went into examining Odysseus, who is a hero with a famously very tricky history?
See, that's a real question. That's a good question. You want to, yeah.
I mean, CC talks about him. Polyphemus obviously talks about him. I would say it's about the same amount of real estate as the Perseus.
But I think it lives. It lives all the way through the story. I think. Yeah. The idea. I mean, I think this whole story is kind of about that, right? About what is heroism and where does your humanity fit into that? How much of your heroism is trying to shed that humanity to do things that an ordinary person can't do, and how much of heroism is doing the most human thing in a moment when it's most costly. And I think as this season gets more complicated, as Percy and Annabeth's relationship gets more complicated, about what it means to sacrifice for a friend, what it means to sacrifice for a friend when they think you are betraying them, is I think all a part of that conversation of what do the sort of the big sort of towering mythological heroes have to say about this, and how do these kids navigate that and contribute something new to it as well. I think is really, it's mentioned a few times in text, but it just lives in every scene, I think, between them this season.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Here's the good news. We will be on all of your podcasts.
Yay!
Times. So this is the first of many.
Thank you guys. Thank you for coming.
I'm so glad you guys were here.
All right, and those were our interviews, and you would think that at this point we would be done, but as we were just kind of hanging out, Walker comes running back to our table. Everything is basically over at this point, and everybody's getting corralled to go on to the next thing, which is probably more interviews with variety.
They had to sit down for those 20-minute YouTube videos. But before that, Walker sits down and he shares this with us.
All right, Nico. I know you all want to know about Nico. Any questions?
Okay.
I'm so shocked. I was shocked. I was sitting here and I was like, so when are you guys going to ask about Nico?
What are you allowed to tell us about that?
What am I allowed to say? I can tell you about the kid.
Okay, yeah. Tell us about the kid.
He's amazing. I remember doing the chem read with him, and I forgot, shocker, I forgot my line one of the times, and I was sitting there and I was like, I kind of moved on the last couple times we did it, and I was like, I know I'm supposed to say something here, but I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. And he was like staring down because he was like, depressed Nico. And he was like, he just said my line for me. And I was like, oh, dude, you're perfect. And no, he's amazing. He's great. He was really, really nervous. He's such a good kid. He's amazing. We've been trying. I mean, he's like a Percy Jackson super fan, by the way. I mean, he read all the books in like one day right before the audition, and he's like 13. He's 13, and I remember that this is a really personal thing, by the way, but I was sitting there and we were talking about the book, and I said something, and he corrected me on the book, and I was like, that's when I knew, like, I need to lock in. I haven't read book 3 in like 2 months. It's been crazy. I'm sorry.
Hi. No, you're on a scoop. But I need you now.
Okay. He's great. He's great.
This was delightful. It really did not occur to us that we were like allowed to ask about Bianca and Nico's casting. At the end of the Hall H panel, it was announced that Levi Chrysopoulos and Olive Abercrombie were cast as Nico and Bianca for season 3 / and beyond. No spoilers, I guess. I'm not 100% sure that that's how you say their names. They were announced as Bianca and Nico, and the way that I registered this information, but I barely registered this information because we didn't know for sure that this announcement was happening. And when it happened, we got video clips of the two of them like, hi, saying hi to the world. And I immediately started crying. I could not keep it in. The second Levi opened his mouth, tears in my eyes. I was overwhelmed.
Let's flag that space too, because everyone is loving this, but I haven't done a deep crawl. Legally, nobody was supposed to repost videos from Hall H. And I haven't actually seen that many. I don't think that many people have seen the video of Levi talking about taking on the role and what it meant. It was perfect. It really was not a relief, not just a relief, but a joy to see. I feel like they really slam dunked it. They went to Broadway. They did what they had to do.
So at the time, I registered it, but I didn't really register it, and we had already prepped out all these questions. But Walker is so right. You
got to dig on the exclusive, the new news.
Yeah, but that's also we talked about it as a table, after Walker made that first comment at our table, and we were like, is this really our place to be talking about? Don't you think IMDb is going to ask about this? And we're not really out here to get scoops. So I don't always feel like I want to, harangue again the children into giving us exclusive tea. That's not really what we do and what our space is for. But it was really nice that Walker shared an anecdote about Levi anyway. And then a couple days later, my own anecdote is that Levi followed my personal account on Instagram, and he sent me a message that was so sweet. It was thanking us for welcoming him into the fandom and saying I don't know if you remember, but we met back in October at your show, because I was in Portland for the national tour of Wicked back in October. And the second he sent me that message, I was like, oh my God, yes. Because I knew Dan Shotz had mentioned oh, Erica, you and Levi are going to bond, because Levi was just on the national tour of Peter Pan. And as soon as Levi sent me that message, I was like, oh my God, yes. I remember being in Portland, meeting this adorable child who was wearing an all green, multiple piece suit to come and see Wicked. And his parents mentioned that he was in town for Peter Pan. And I was like, you're in town for Peter Pan. Did you skip a show to come and see Wicked? And I don't remember what they said, but I was just floored. He was so sweet, especially because that night I was late coming to the stage door because I was giving the Broadway Cares fundraiser backstage tour. So I was probably 20 extra minutes getting out, and he was waiting there, and he took a photo with me and with my coworker. And I was like, wow, that's nuts. Because if you're a longtime listener of this podcast, you know, arguably the reason we are all here today is Nico D'Angelo. That character, my ride or die, my comfort character from day one, my original email account, my original Instagram account, Erica.D.Angelo, many stories. I just go back and listen to our coverage of The Sun and the Star. We love Nico. And the thought that the universe decided a few months before this sweet, perfect angel child was going to book this role of a lifetime that happens to be a character that I have spent my whole life in such close proximity to, that we were going to meet at my job is so nuts to me. It's very nuts. I'm so glad that we took a picture because I will cherish that photo forever. And I just will also say you want to know about the kid is that the kid is perfect and he's a sweet angel and he is a total star. I remember talking to him and being like, oh, this kid's a star. Like he was so happy to be there and so personable. And I can't wait to see how he destroys all of us in the final episode of season 3 next year.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
That was our San Diego Comic-Con experience. It was so great seeing everybody and catching up with the cast and the crew. And then we got to go to the Percy Jackson experience the next day, which was so fun. I'm really grateful we got to cut the line because it would have been tough to wait for like 6 hours. And I actually got sunburned that day, even from like cutting the line and barely waiting. My shoulders were red from the San Diego sun. It was really cool. The high-tech elements, the actors that they had improvising as the Grey Sisters, we went dressed up as the Grey Sisters. Yeah. There's a lot
Margaret
of footage.
Cho, notice us, please.
Margaret Cho, I am begging you. First Levi, next you. Please send us a message. We want to be noticed by you. Kristen Shaw came the day after we were there. Ah, shucks. It was really cool. I got claimed by Poseidon. Carter got claimed by Athena. Absolutely boring, classic, been there, typical. You look at our logo art. And we got merch. Carter got a shirt. I got a hat. We got water bottles.
The shirt says San Diego Comic-Con exclusive on the sleeve. I just noticed this.
Oh, that's cool. My hat does not say that. That does make me a little jealous. But yeah, the whole execution of the weekend I thought was great. They had that like secret drachma thing going on. So if you were like paying really, really close attention to the Instagram, you could show up to like a random location vaguely around the convention center and collect these drachmas to get the special merch, like the hat and the t-shirt.
I met a kid. This is cute short little story. I met a kid who was on the same flight out from San Diego as me on Friday night who was wearing the orange Camp Half-Life t-shirt in the lounge. And so I was like, oh, like the kid and the mother, I chatted briefly and I was like, did you go to the con? Did you see anything? Or were you here for Percy Jackson? And they were like, oh, I mean, like he loves Percy Jackson, but we didn't make it into any of the stuff. And so I was like, well, do I have something that I can like give them? So I gave them the little coin from the pop-up event, and I think it was appreciated.
Oh, Carter, that's so sweet. I don't know in that moment if I could have parted from my drachmas. I really don't know.
It was the not exclusive one.
Okay. I may have sooner honestly given the water bottle because I really want to like punch a hole in the drachma and make a necklace out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carter left that night, but then the next day I also got to go to 2 really, really, really awesome TV writer panels on Saturday. The first one featuring Sarah Watson, who is in the Percy Jackson writers room for season 2. And the second one featuring Daphne Olive, who we all know and love. You can listen to multiple episodes with Daphne on our podcast if you scroll back through the feed. She was specifically on a panel about fan creators becoming professionals and how fandom fuels professional careers. And it was so sweet and special. There were many things I feel like I took away from both of those panels. I hope that I know people were filming Daphne's at least, so I hope that somebody uploads it eventually. But the one thing I really like, the thing that keeps ringing in my mind, which maybe this will be a nugget of wisdom for other people, is when asked about Daphne's transition from being a Black sales analysis podcaster to writing with Jon and Dan on The Old Man and on Percy. They were like, how did that transition work for you? And Daphne had mentioned like imposter syndrome, but that at the end of the day, like she had to make a choice to have faith in the people who have faith in her. And that if those people were believing in her and willing to give her a chance and support her through this journey, and that she needed to believe in them. And I thought that was really great. And I've been thinking about that a lot. So make sure that you have faith in the people who have faith in you. Carter and I have faith in you, in a general sense at least. I think that's all we have to say about San Diego Comic-Con. Next week, we are going to continue to put a slight pin in our Odyssey adaptation retellings. We're going to push the Penelope by Margaret Atwood off one more week so that we can go over the entirety of the teaser trailer and information that has come out in other interviews and articles from San Diego Comic-Con that we want to talk about ahead of season 2. So thank you for joining us. And until next time, I hope you ponder about whether or not Percabeth is the greatest love story ever told.
Bye, all.
Bye.